Today we're diving into the symptoms of a bad crankshaft position sensor. If your car's been acting up, this might be the culprit. Let's get started. We're talking rough idling, trouble starting, maybe even stalling out at the worst possible time. Stay tuned, because you don't want to miss this. Alright, so you're driving down the road, and that dreaded check engine light pops on. Don't panic just yet, but don't ignore it either. That check engine light is like your car's way of waving its hands in the air and saying, "Hey, something's wrong." This little sensor is responsible for telling your car's computer where the crankshaft is at all times. When the sensor starts going bad, it sends faulty signals to the computer, and that's when the check engine light comes on. So if that check engine light comes on, don't mess around. Get yourself to a mechanic, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer like me, hook up a code reader and see what's going on. There's a good chance that crankshaft position sensor is the culprit. Now let's talk about engine misfires. They can be a real headache for any driver. You know that feeling when you're driving down the road and your car suddenly feels like it's hiccuping? That's a misfire. It's like your car is having a little coughing fit. One of the main culprits behind engine misfires is, you guessed it, a bad crankshaft position sensor. This tiny component plays a huge role in your engine's performance. When the crankshaft position sensor sends bad information to the computer, the timing of the spark plugs and fuel injectors gets all messed up. This can lead to a cascade of problems. Instead of firing in a smooth, synchronized sequence, the cylinders start firing out of order or not at all. This lack of coordination can be quite problematic. This is what causes that rough, jerky feeling you get when your engine misfires. It's not just annoying, it can be alarming. Not only is it unpleasant to drive, but it can also damage your engine in the long run. Continuous misfires can lead to more serious engine issues. So if you're feeling those misfires, don't just crank up the radio and pretend it's not happening. Get it checked out. Ignoring it can lead to costly repairs down the road. Chapter 3. Difficulty starting. Is your car playing dead? You turn the key, expecting that familiar roar of the engine, but instead you get nothing. No sound, no movement, just silence. Or maybe you get a weak, sputtering sound, like the engine is trying to start but just can't quite get there. It's frustrating, isn't it? Well, guess what? A bad crankshaft position sensor could be the reason your car is suddenly refusing to cooperate. This tiny component plays a crucial role. When you turn the key, the crankshaft position sensor tells the computer the exact position of the crankshaft. It's like the car's way of knowing where everything is. But when the sensor is on the fritz, it can't send the right information to the computer. The signals get mixed up. The computer gets confused, doesn't know when to fire the spark plugs or inject fuel, and the engine just sits there, cranking over and over without starting. It's like a miscommunication. So if you're having trouble starting your car, especially if it's intermittent, don't rule out a bad crankshaft position sensor. Get it checked out. It could save you a lot of headaches and keep your car running smoothly. Chapter 4. Stalling and backfiring. The sudden silence and bang. You're cruising down the road, minding your own business, enjoying the drive, when suddenly, your engine dies without any warning. No warning, no sputtering, just complete and utter silence. It's as if the car has decided to take a nap in the middle of your journey. Or maybe instead of silence, you get a loud bang from under the hood, like someone just set off a firecracker. It's startling and can be quite frightening. Stalling and backfiring are two of the most alarming symptoms of a bad crankshaft position sensor, and they can be downright dangerous if not addressed promptly. When the sensor fails, it can send incorrect signals to the computer, causing the timing of the spark plugs and fuel injectors to go haywire, leading to erratic engine behavior. This can lead to the engine stalling out unexpectedly, leaving you stranded on the side of the road, feeling helpless and frustrated. So if your car starts stalling or backfiring, don't ignore it. These are warning signs that something is seriously wrong. Get it to a mechanic as soon as possible. Early diagnosis and repair can save you from more significant issues down the road. Chapter 5. Poor fuel economy guzzling gas. Like it's going out of style. Have you noticed that you're filling up your gas tank more often than usual? Well, before you start blaming rising gas prices, take a look at your crankshaft position sensor. Believe it or not, a faulty sensor can wreak havoc on your fuel economy. When the crankshaft position sensor sends incorrect signals to the computer, it can throw the entire fuel injection system out of whack. The computer might inject too much fuel into the engine, or inject it at the wrong time. This leads to poor fuel economy, as your engine is essentially guzzling gas without getting anything in return. So if you're tired of constantly stopping at the gas station, a bad crankshaft position sensor might be the culprit. Get it checked out. Outro, don't ignore the signs. So there you have it, folks. Those are just a few of the symptoms of a bad crankshaft position sensor. Remember, this little sensor plays a big role in keeping your engine running smoothly, so don't ignore the warning signs. If you notice any of these symptoms, get your car checked out by a mechanic as soon as possible.